morning. Been a while since I recorded, but wanted to let you guys know what we learned at our first puppy class when we went last week. We learned a couple of things about how to give treats and how to throw treats to minimize their snapping at your fingers. So this is something we want to avoid having the dogs do, and the way to do that is to always treat them with a flat hand so that they have to pick it off your hand without grabbing your fingers. And so that's one of the things that the trainer said first, was always feed treats this way so that they don't get grabby about your fingers, which I thought was really good, and that's a valid point. Next, it was how to throw a treat. So these puppies don't know how to track things very well, and so if you throw the treat, you want to be very demonstrative. And if you're standing, you kind of act like a bowler and you bowl the treat out, and you don't go so far that they can't find it, but it teaches them to track the treat, trying to get her attention, and show them where it is, which ultimately I believe is going to lead to being able to point in the direction where you want them to go, but the bowling is the first motion. Now, the first thing that they taught us about getting the dog to pay attention to you is not about verbal things. Don't call the dog's name or anything like that, but every time the dog checks in with you, you give a treat. So basically what it was is the dogs are standing there, and right now Nina's very focused on me. Yes! And so if she's looking at me and giving me attention, then I'm going to reward it with a yes, followed by a treat. Not at the same time, but yes, and then a treat. So the yes is signaling the behavior that I want. Yes! So when the nose comes back to my direction, I give her a yes, and she comes around. If she flakes off and starts looking somewhere else, like let's say I bowl her away to get her to pay attention to something else, yes! And then she checks in with me, I give her a yes for checking in. So we did this today. I went to the hardware store and we were standing there, and she was a little overwhelmed by the hardware store. And I was waiting for her to check in with me, and she didn't do it very often. She was looking at all the people and hearing all the carts go by. But every now and then she would kind of turn her nose in my direction, and the minute the nose turned, that's enough. Later, I'm going to start to ask her for things like look at me and sit, and be cute. And I'll give you a treat for that. But when she's too focused on other things, we at least want her checking in by looking in our direction.